The cool thing about these budget videos is that they allow me to go back into time where I didn't have as many cards as I did before. I remember in the Blackwing format, I mean seriously, as a whatever-year-old kid, I couldn't afford Vayus, Allure Darknesses, and Greffers, but I did have a way around to destroy the meta. I had a hero deck centered around Elemental Hero Neo's Alias, using monsters like Captain Gold to get to the ever so powerful Skyscraper so I can put my Blackwing opponents in a bad situation. My Neo's Alias would gain 1,000 attack, making him the strongest monster on the field when he attacked. But even when he attacked into my Neo's Alias, I had cards like Honest to back me up. Combined with powerful cards like Skill Drain and Beast King Barbaros, my hero deck was so good, I actually came second in a huge tournament in Las Vegas, only losing to the eventual second place world champion that piloted Blackwings. Why do all my good decks involve Skill Drain? In this video, we are going to be going over some of the most competitive budget decks for August of 2020. And just for the people that were wondering what was budget, it's going to be around that $100 mark. So if you can scrape up around $100, you can get any of these decks and start with your Yu-Gi-Oh journey. Ironically, speaking of journey, I want to keep my lips sealed, but I have a very surprising series coming for you guys. I want you to post down below in the comment section what other type of videos you want to see on this channel. So without further ado, let's jump on in. The first strategy I want to talk to you guys about has almost been discarded from competitive relevancy, but not because the strategy is bad, just because players are filling other decks. This deck is still a really good budget option, as Shaddoll is still one of the more powerful decks of the format. The Shaddoll strategy revolves around punishing your opponent from special summoning in the extra deck, and in case you guys haven't caught on just yet, Yu-Gi-Oh! In 2020 is all about special summoning from the extra deck. One of the cool features from this fusion summoning deck is that you can almost fusion summon for free if your opponent controls a monster special summon from the extra deck. Cards like Shaddoll Fusion reward you for your opponent playing Yu-Gi-Oh! By using Shaddoll monsters or cards required on a material from the deck. And the cool thing about the Shaddoll Fusion monsters is that all of the Shaddoll Fusion monsters require a certain attribute, meaning that you can splash other types of engines inside of your deck. As long as they want to be in the graveyard, you can gain some huge advantage. You can summon some awesome fusion monsters like El Shaddoll Construct, which allows you to send any Shaddoll card from your deck to your graveyard. Almost forgot to mention that your Shaddoll cards in your main deck gain effects when sent to the graveyard by a card effect. But something that people forget is that cards like El Shaddoll Construct can destroy any monster that it battles that is special summoned. Yeah, that's an effect. That's a really good effect. El Shaddoll Window prevents players from special summoning more than once in a turn, and that can be huge against strategies that want to bring out all of their monsters to their side of the field. I mean, normally they just go blah and just summon as many monsters as possible, and Shaddoll say no. Keep your stuff in your pockets. No. Even the more forgotten Shaddoll fusion monsters are really powerful. El Shaddoll Shekinaga allows you to negate monster effects, and El Shaddoll Grista allows you to negate monster summons. The Shaddoll strategy can also be relatively inexpensive because of its ability to be able to mesh with other strategies. A pure Shaddoll build will probably run you in the $60 to $70 range, and because the Shaddoll engine is just so splashable, you can use almost whatever you want for the rest of the cards depending on which Shaddoll monsters you want to summon. Maybe you want to focus more towards a Winda build, possibly merging it with a Dino strategy. You can merge it with trains, and if you already pulled the invoked cards from the Battles of Legend Armageddon, well, you can play Invoke Shaddoll. The Shaddoll strategy is not only splashable and good, it's a perfect deck for players on a budget. Now, a really cool thing is that this strategy was once really expensive, but due to a meta change and of course its structure deck reprint, it's now cheap again. The dinosaur strategy is one of the best strategies in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I can go as far to say as if you are picking up the Dino strategy, you are playing the best deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! That's right, I said it. Dino's too strong. The reason why Dinos are an excellent strategy for budget players is because of its versatility. You can play a Dino Shaddoll version as the aforementioned other budget deck. The cool thing is within $60, you pretty much have both decks, or you can play a Lost World version of Dino, which allows you to not only summon Ultimate Conductor Tyranno to your side of the field, but can protect your dinosaur monsters through the effect of aforementioned Lost World. A True King dinosaur strategy goes for huge monsters like True King of all calamities, and a synchro version of Dinosaur is a little more expensive, but you can always build up to that over time. That's what's so amazing about the dinosaur strategy, is that it has so many other forms. You can pick whichever flavor you want for the day and proceed to stomp your opponent's face in. You can say that they can get T-Rexed out of the equation. No? Now, unlike Shuttles, Dinos actually have an expensive card that you have to go get that isn't in the structure deck, an Animadorned Archosaur. Depending on which Dino variant you play, because some don't play any. But just to be on the safe side, I would pick up some copies of Animadorned Archosaur. They're only 20 bucks and builds typically don't play more than 2. So I mean, I think you could get it and still be under budget. The Dino strategy is ferocious. If you ever wanted to see Rex Raptor in a non-laughable form, then here's your deck. Now, a strategy that consistently makes my underrated list, because it's just so underrated, is the Subterror strategy. The Subterror strategy is a flip effect based deck. Every time the Subterror monsters are flipped face up, you can gain different effects. But because the Subterror strategy isn't based on all of the Subterror monsters, in actuality just 2 or 3 of them, we're gonna focus on the ones that are important. Subterror Guru allows you to add any Subterror card from your deck to your hand that is flipped face up, and one of its more popular cards is Subterror Fiendus, allowing you to have an Omni negation upon searching. The Subterror strategy you would think is an extremely expensive strategy. It's not. In fact, the Subterror strategy is so cheap, you can fit a Numeron engine from the Battles of Legends Armageddon's Revenge and still be under $100. Now that is a good cheap deck. Outside of Numeron Network, which sits at a mighty $14, the Subterror strategy's most expensive card is the Hidden City. You can get the expensive version for about $14 to $15, or you can just get the $8 version if you were on a budget. Regardless, whatever you choose, Subterror is a strategy that should see more play because it can hang with popular decks like Etlich and shut down even powerful decks like Adamancipator. The cool strategy on here almost tells you how much do you want to pay for this selective strategy. Seriously, how much do you want to pay? It could be under 100, it could be 1,000. It's all how much you want to pay. The Sky Striker strategy is literally that criteria. I remember when Sky Striker mobilized in-game was $100 a piece. Now they're banned, so yeah, you don't have that luxury. But just because Sky Striker's most powerful card is banned doesn't stop it from being a really, really good deck. In fact, you can say that Sky Striker, like the other 2 strategies, is one of the more powerful decks in comparative to all of the other decks in existence. The strategy focuses on activating spell cards, and then activating more spell cards, and then using those spell cards as trap cards. Now, the most expensive Sky Striker card is Sky Striker Ace Rose, sitting at a whopping price of $400. Nah, I'm just playing with you. There's actually a cheap version of Sky Striker Ace Rose that is $7. Again, this deck can be as cheap as $100. It could be over $1,000. You can choose how much you want to pay for this deck. Choose the 1,000. You know you want to choose the 1,000. I mean, like, the 100 is 100, but the 1,000 can be anything. It can even have the $100 deck in it. We'll take the 1,000. Now, before we get into the last strategy, I know you guys may be upset that I may have snubbed your budget strategy. I want you guys to post down below in the comment section which strategies did I miss. Perhaps in the next video, I'll even mention it and then we'll be square. Is that how it works? I mean, I've never really been a square. I always consider myself more of a circle or a triangle, but you know, we're not gonna talk about geometry here. The strategy that I am talking about is Salamangreat. Now, Salamangreat is seriously one of the strongest strategies in Yu-Gi-Oh! I am not playing with you guys. It is seriously strong. And the Battles of Legends Armageddon Revenge did give it a necessary reprint to make it a lot cheaper. But before I get into that, let's talk about the Salamangreat strategy. The Salamangreat strategy is a self-contained engine that summons Salamangreat's Smite Wolf and allows you to recur resources from your graveyard to your hand. You have some powerful trap cards in Solomon Great Rage, which allows you to destroy cards on your opponent's side of the field, up to the link rating of a monster that was used summoned by its own name. Now I know that may sound a little confusing, so allow me to break it down for you. If you link summon a Solomon Great Sunlight Wolf, using Solomon Great Sunlight Wolf, Solomon Great Rage allows you to destroy up to 2 cards on the field. Same thing goes with a bigger Solomon Great with a higher link rating and a lower link rating. And just when you thought that the deck was short on disruption, Solomon Great Roar allows you to negate the activation of a card effect and destroy it. So the strategy is really good at recurring both of its traps back to your hand for you to continuously use to disrupt the opponent, and has a constant stream of monsters. Currently, the most expensive Solomon Great monster is Solomon Great Baylix at a whopping price of $1.26. It's so cheap, I just have to ignore it and move to the next most expensive card. After that, you have a non-Solomon Great card, but is played universally in almost every Solomon Great deck, in Lady Debug, which sits at about $8. That's also not expensive. To be honest with you guys, you can play Access Code Talker, which sits at a whopping $65, as well as all of the other cards that I mentioned, and still be able to fit your budget of around $100. The Solomon Great strategy also comes inside of a structure deck, so if you can get 3 copies of those, you potentially save yourself a lot of money and time. Well, that's all of the strategies that we have for today. Again, be sure to post down below in the comment section what strategies that I missed, and potentially you'll see them on the next video. Also, be sure to click on one of these cards if you guys want to stay strong, and I'll catch you on the next video.